I got some cases for some of my Raspberry Pi Picos so that I can carry them around without them just being naked and getting their pins bent, which I hate to say that I've done it a few times before. Now the specific case that I got, it came in a 3-pack. I'm only going to open one here. So everything's inside of a Ziploc bag. It's in here pretty tightly. Okay, here we go. So let's see what we've got. We have a total of 4 screws. There's 4 nuts. This might be hard to see, but there is a piece right here. This is going to be for a button extension. And then we have the individual pieces that make up the case. Now I know the instructions say the first thing that you should do is go ahead and remove the protective layers. Sometimes I get these cases and I put them together and I just leave the paper on there, which I am totally fine with. But just for the sake of the video, I guess for this one, I will go ahead and remove the paper. Let's get the other side here. Okay, so there's a paper removed from one of the pieces. I'm going to go ahead and do all the rest of them, but I will fast forward that part through the camera so that you don't have to look at that happening. So I've got the pieces now all unwrapped. So now I need to start putting this together, and let's see what we have going on here. This does come with an instruction manual. I did take a picture of it, although I lost the manual. So I'm going to see if I can do this without using the instruction manual at all. Now, the thing is with these, thankfully, for many of these, it does this thing where you're alternating between the colors of the pieces. So let's see, which way does everything go? I know that for this piece, since that has a button on it, it's going to be oriented that way. And that might be enough to inform me on how to do everything else. So I believe this is going on the bottom. I think this is right, okay. Because it looks like they have a cutout on the bottom for the original Pi Pico if your debug port is there, and then they have one on the side for if your debug port is there. Because you might have put your debug pins to go up or to go down, so it looks like they have accommodated going either way. And the notch, I am making sure that is oriented such that it ends up being on the side that's going to have the USB port on it. So see, clear is what I did here. In black. And then clear. So I think this is how this is going to go. There is a step that I missed, but we're going to come back to that in a second. Okay. So I see a little bit more about what's going on here. This protrusion that's right coming out on that side and this side, that is for supporting the Pi or Pico so that it ends up floating within here and not going down below a certain level. This Pico that I have, let me use a different one because these pins are actually a little bit different than on a regular one. So use this Pico instead, and yes, so that's coming out much better. Now, talking about the step that I forgot to do. In the instructions, because I had looked at them before, even though I don't know where they are now, they do tell you to go ahead and put the nuts through there in the beginning. I did not do that, but you know what? Things are going to be okay. I'm going to go ahead and do that now. So there's number 2, 3, and 4. So with all 4 of them in here, the tricky part is turning this back over without letting the screws fall out. Okay, got it. So we've got one more piece to go on here, and the button. Now this could be tricky because you have to make sure that the button extension is sitting on top of the button, while you put this other piece on top. What I'm doing is I put the button extension through here, and that is actually how I am holding onto this while I'm putting it in place. Okay, so there it is in place, and I have an issue. Let's take it back out and see what's going on. This isn't, oh, I see what the issue is. I don't actually have, crap. Okay, let's try this again. And now I've lost my button extension. Where is it? Oh, it's on top of the board itself. So let's see how this goes. Okay, I am still doing something wrong. Let's take a look and see what it might be. I think I might have put this piece on too soon. Yep, that's what I did. So I put it on in the wrong order because the problem I was running into is I was not getting enough space for my button down there, and I'm getting fingerprints all over this case. Okay. Now I can press the button. And the last part of putting this together is to put the nuts in place. I can pick them up. Okay, here we go. And right now, my only concern is to get them in place. Once you're in place, tightening them is trivial. Okay, I have 2, so I'm working on number 3. And now to get the last one. Okay, it's in place. I can go ahead and get a screwdriver and something to hold on to the nut so that I can tighten these. I guess I don't need to finish that right now. So now that this is put together, I'll just talk about it a little bit more and point out a few other things. So mentioned before, you can see that there's a cutout so that I can get to my debug pin. So if I put the debug header there, I can get to it. If I have one of the other Picos that has the debug header on the other end, then there's a cutout for that too. So I appreciate that they made it so that it'll fit both layouts, because I've had some other cases that do not. So it gives you access to the pins. As far as getting access to all of these, you typically want to use the wires that have the jumpers on the other end. That's the only way you're going to really be able to get to those. You're not going to be able to plug this into some things that have a socket on them. Like here's one of my breakout boards. I would not be able to use this Pico on this breakout board because in addition to having the sockets, this also has pins that would end up getting in the way. I think if it were only the sockets, I'd probably be able to plug it into there with no problem, just depending on how much clearance that they give you. So same thing from the top. If you happen to have your pins on there the other way, there is a cutout for you to get access to those. And of course, they have the button extension, so you still have access to the button. So this is something that's nice to have if you just need to carry the Pi around and you're always going to be connecting it using jumpers. There is one that is a bit more minimalistic, which is what I have here. And I'll take this out. And for this minimalistic one, it is primarily just sandwiching the Pico between these two pieces of acrylic. So you see there's one here. You might not notice the one that's on the bottom, but there is one that's right there. So this keeps the board protected. It does not give any protection for the pins. It also has a button extension that's made out of plastic. But the thing, of course, I use this one for is, this is low profile, so it doesn't really generally get in the way of anything else, so I can use it on any one of my breakout boards without any trouble or without any complaints. If you're interested in either one of these, I'll make sure that I leave a link to it here in the video. This is an affiliate link, so if you purchase through this, I do earn a small commission from it. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, be sure to like and subscribe. Until next time.